Hello everybody, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow.
And Janet Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News Podcast for the very beginning of August 2014. It's August already.
Unbelievable.
I don't know where it went. Not that it mattered because we didn't have hardly any summer.
We were too busy to notice it was even summer.
Yeah, now I have to caution you about something today.
What'd I do?
Remember last time we had a Western audience. So they were very boisterous and lively.
Yes.
But today we have a Midwestern audience, so we have to be respectful and quiet and no sexual things, okay?
You're talking to yourself again?
No, because it's against the law in the Midwest.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing you know so that you don't break any laws.
Well, I'm not. I have legitimate, serious stories. I don't even want to think about what you have.
I have legitimate, serious stories as well.
I'm just going to apologize right now, people, because I never know what the heck she's going to say.
And I never know what's going to come out of your mouth.
No, but...
So you need to have respectful comments on my respectful stories.
I am very respectful.
When?
Okay.
Did I miss it?
Yeah. Tell it to the judge, okay? Anyway, time for my stories, and it's a serious one, so please be...
Is it about serious? Serious A or serious B?
Well, it might be related to that for all I know, because it's about Ebola. Yeah, Ebola. And here's the thing, people. There is an Ebola epidemic in West Africa, which is not news, really. But what is news is that two Americans who went there, and it says missionary work, they contracted the Ebola virus. There was this Dr. Kent Brantley, who is from Liberia. He is working in Liberia, and he contracted this Ebola, and he went there with his wife and two children, okay? Like, if you know a place has war, famine, Ebola, would you bring your children there? I certainly would not. So he did, and he got sick. And here's the thing. The Americans transported him to the Dobbins Air Reserve Base near Atlanta's Emory University Hospital to bring him back to the United States to help him. And this is the first time Ebola has now been brought to the United States or even to North America.
But you know, even before that, there was an article, I didn't read it, and they talked about two scientists who contracted it, and there was only one dose of the, whatever it is, of the vaccine left.
But that's just it, there is no vaccine, there's no cure for it.
Well, why did they say, and what were they going to do?
I'm going to get it, I need you to be calm.
All right. Well, it's a very serious story, so I need
to calm down right now.
Be sure I get all the facts.
Okay, there's Midwesterners watching us now. So, he was seen arriving in the ambulance in a full-body protective suit, and someone else in a full-body white protective suit helped him emerge from the ambulance, and he actually walked into the hospital, so he can't be that ill. The other American, who's a fellow missionary, is Nancy Wright-Bowl, if I said that name right, I don't know. And she's still in Liberia because apparently the plane only has enough equipment to transport one person at a time.
Maybe that's what I was reading about.
Okay, so, we're talking about the United States, and there's probably military involved and other things. They only have one plane. They're going to want, really? That's really encouraging. They have to isolate the patient, so they can only take one person at a time. This guy, Brantley, apparently has ties to Texas and Indiana, and this fellow missionary, Wright-Bowl, is from North Carolina, and they became sick. So far, 1,300 people have become infected with the virus in this epidemic, and 700 so far this year have died. This Brantley will be the first human Ebola test for the U.S. medical facility.
How convenient.
But now listen to this part. It says, Ebola is not airborne or waterborne and spreads through contact with organs and bodily fluids such as blood, saliva, urine, and other secretions. So why did he have to wear a protective suit if it's not airborne or water? I mean, I don't think they were going to, he was not going to urinate on anybody or,
well, you never know.
Affect them with his bodily fluids. So I don't understand.
Could be blood. They sneeze. If I sneeze and your food is anywhere nearby, you go, oh my gosh, you sneezed on my food.
And this is how they cure it. Listen,
no.
And this is a quote from the person at the hospital. We just have to keep the patient alive long enough for the body to control the infection. So they're basically saying your body can fight it off. They just have to keep him alive. They gave the woman that's still there an experimental serum. Then why do they say there's no cure? And the Ebola virus causes, this is the terrible part, it causes hemorrhagic fever, and it also affects many different organs in the body that causes them to bleed. The onset includes fever, weakness, muscle pain, headaches, sore throat, but progressing to vomiting, diarrhea, impaired kidney and liver function, and sometimes internal and external. Oh my God, I have every single one of those symptoms.
Well, that's how come he had to be in the bodysuit, just in case
God.
he was
I'm gonna have to
bleeding or something.
Yeah. It's so far, the outbreak is in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. Whereas now and the second part of the story says 729 people have died as of July 27th. Now, the idea of intentionally bringing the Ebola virus to the United States has upset a lot of people. One person on the internet wrote, "The road to hell was paved with good intentions. What do we say to our kids when they get sick and die?" Well, why would you bring that virus to the United States?
Well, we all know why.
Well, I'm going to get to that part. Also, it could take 3 to 6 months to stop the epidemic in West Africa. And again, they emphasize there's no vaccine, though one is in the works. So then my question is, then why are they bringing them back here to treat them if there's no vaccine? Why wouldn't they perhaps bring a medical ship, which they have, and just bring them right there off the coast on a medical, and they can contain them that way?
Or set up an isolation unit where they are.
They purposely wanted to bring it here. They did say the National Institute of Health plans to begin testing an experimental Ebola vaccine in people as early as September. Tests on primates have been successful, except that humans are not monkeys. Well, some of them are, you know, but doesn't make sense. So here's my questions. And again, why not treat these two people on hospital ships off the coast of Africa? Why bring them to the U.S. if there is no treatment anyway? This is another tactic to scare the population of the United States and North America and create the threat of the pandemic spread of Ebola. Let's remember, people, that they've done this with West Nile virus, SARS, Aryan flu, swine flu, etc. All of these were terrible diseases that were going to decimate the population, and so now we don't have enough of that running around. They have to bring Ebola to the United States.
Well, because they keep trying something that will scare the people into lining up for the vaccinations.
Well, that's...
And the people are not lining up. And there was something else that was an old disease. I can't remember what it was that they brought back, and they were threatening the hospital workers that they were going to be fired if they didn't.
Well, they still do that. We have clients who are in the medical field, and they're told either you take this vaccination or you're out of here.
Anyway, so it is all fear-based.
It's all fear-based, and fortunately, Ebola, so far, has only existed in hot climates. Luckily, we live in a northern climate.
But you know, it just dawned on me something.
Right.
Okay, so they're mind-controlling people to be numb and dumb, but yet they're trying to instill fear. So I think the people are numb and dumb enough that they're not afraid anymore because they've heard the whole story so much.
Too stupid to be afraid, eh?
Yeah. So therefore, it could be that this mind control stuff is backfiring on those who are trying to perpetuate this.
I hope so.
Because it's true.
Now to another major story, which is also bizarre, and that's, of course, Gaza. Remember you yelled at me last week because I didn't talk enough about Gaza? Mm-hmm. Well, now, the Saudi Arabian king, Abdullah, has condemned the war in Gaza as a collective massacre. However, he did not condemn Israel, which is very unusual for a Saudi Arabian. And in fact, he suggests that both Israel and Hamas were responsible. The king did not call for any specific action to be taken against Israel. Again, something very new in this thing. He's 90 years old, and he apparently is trying to have a balancing act between the Israelis and the Gazans. The king was very upset about Muslim extremists saying terrorists are wrongfully carrying out deadly acts in the name of Islam and tarnishing the religion's purity and humanity. And of course, he was upset with the ISIS group in Iraq and Syria. And this is what the king said, and I quote, "It is shameful and disgraceful that these terrorists are doing this in the name of religion, killing the people whose killing Allah has forbidden, and mutilating their bodies and feeling proud in publishing this. They have distorted the image of Islam with its purity and humanity and smeared it with all sorts of bad qualities by their actions and injustice and crimes." Well, king, what about the racism and injustices in Saudi Arabia? Chopping off people's hands if they are thieves, putting women in prison, accusing them of adultery, chopping heads off. This is what's going on in Saudi Arabia. So, king, look in the mirror, you old 90-year-old king, you. And furthermore, there are countries in the regions who are upset about the brotherhood of Islam and the Islamic movements. For example, Egypt is very upset about what's going on. However, countries like Turkey and Qatar are supporting them. So there's division within the Islamic countries in the Middle East and the Gulf, etc. The king said, "We all see the blood of our brothers in Palestine bleeding out in collective massacres that do not spare anyone and war crimes against humanity without humane or moral reservations." And he warned that the children of Gaza will grow up knowing nothing but the language of violence. Well, that's what they know anyway. See? Now, let me explain why the king is doing this. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, many of the Gulf states are all afraid of losing their Western lifestyles and their family kingdoms because of these fundamentalists. Even Iran is concerned about this ISIS group, which is still part of that Shia versus the Sunnis, which we discussed a couple of weeks ago on another podcast. Now, what is not publicized in the news, but is actually publicized in certain Middle East news, Saudi Arabia secretly has allowed the Israeli Air Force to use a base in the northern part of their country in case they need to attack Iran. And that's because Saudi Arabia is worried about Iran. And in fact, the ISIS group has threatened to take over Saudi Arabia and assassinate their leaders.
No, so, we really don't know who's behind ISIS. We can only conjecture.
Egypt has also tried to broker a ceasefire between Gaza and the Israelis because the Egyptians are against the Gazans as well. There's always this talk about the Israelis blockading Gaza, but the Egyptians are also blockading because they don't want them around either. So the conflict will not end in a pretty fashion. There's already been over 2,000 deaths in that very tiny area. However, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu just said the other day that they will go as far as they need to and as long as they have to eliminate Hamas and the threat to Israel. But people also need to realize, and I might have mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, the Israeli economy is doing very well, better than U.S. economy. And many foreign workers are going there. In fact, one of the people killed was a Thai worker in Israel. He's from Thailand. And there are many Filipinos, people from Thailand, a lot of Asian and African countries living there and working because they could find jobs. And there is also, and I mentioned this a couple of months ago, Israel is sitting right next to one of the largest oil and gas fields in the Eastern Mediterranean. And they are partnering with Cyprus and possibly Greece to get the oil and gas out of the sea there. And the Russians said they will fund them. So it's very likely in the next decade, Israel could become the next Dubai.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we should move there. No, they don't like shiksas there, no. No, you couldn't, no. Anyway, moving a little bit west of there to Tunisia, which is in North Africa, there is a site that they're calling Gafsa Beach. I don't know what.
Oh, you know what? I have that story.
You're stealing my stories again?
Oh, yeah, did I? You know,
I told you I was doing this story.
Oh, so I didn't take that one, but I read that article, yes.
Yeah, but don't talk about my story.
In the article, it told what that meant.
It did?
Yes.
I'm sure it was something sexual, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
No. Just remember, Midwestern people are here. Now, this body of water mysteriously appeared in southern Tunisia in the middle of the desert. It's 2.6 acres and measures more than 50 feet deep, which is about 15 meters deep at its deepest part. It emerged right out of the earth. Nobody knows the source of the water, but there is a thinking that a tremor fractured a layer of rock that released an underground reservoir. Now, some speculate that the water could be harmful to humans or even carcinogenic, since there are phosphate mines in the region. But guess what?
What?
The Tunisians are swimming in it anyway.
Yeah, well, they said when it first opened up, it was crystal clear. It was beautiful, and now it's turned blue-green algae.
Like my pool.
So now we're taking a look
Maybe
to find
part
out
of
what's
my
going
pool went down into the ground and came up in Tunisia. That would make sense.
Yes, ours was crystal clear.
Yeah, and now it's...
And now it's green.
Now it's green. That's a whole nother story, people.
But that's what happened.
Yeah, but here's why. You see, North Africa and Southern Europe are being crunched by the African tectonic plate, which is moving north against the Mediterranean. And I told everyone that these things were going to happen. See, they need to listen to me.
And also all the sinkholes.
A lot of sinkholes, and not just there, but in
all over the world.
US, parts of Europe, etc. Like that, the holes opened up in Siberia.
Yes, I have that in my news.
Well, I talked about it last time, so I don't care.
I'm updating them.
News. You can update them, yeah. And my last story.
You have another one.
I have one more story, which I love this story.
Is it mine?
No, I told you about it though.
You did?
Yes, I even sent you the video, which I hope will be posted with this podcast. It's about a 90-year-old grandma in Texas who was so fed up with the banging and the construction next to her house, because they're developing the area around her house. Everybody else sold their homes and had their homes knocked down for this construction. She's the only one left because her husband built this home. She's lived here her whole life. She wants to die there. And so she got fed up with the noise and the banging, so she went outside with a shotgun to tell the workers to cut it out. So this 90-year-old lady sitting on her porch with a shotgun, and Texas sent in a SWAT team, because you know how dangerous 90-year-old ladies, they can't even see their hand. And
well, maybe she could. Maybe she was a healthy,
so
vibrant
they said they had to subdue her as gently as possible.
Well, at least they didn't do things that they do to a lot of these other people.
Yeah, like they killed that other guy, chokehold him.
Holding him, throwing him to the ground, tasering him.
So here's my question. 90 years old, why couldn't they just call her children to go over and
talk to her
and take the gun away?
Yeah.
Why did they send us? And did you see the video? They're sneaking up on this old lady with 90 years. Seriously?
And then they did show the children, and the children would not talk to the journalists.
I mean, come on. 90 years old. I wish her a lot of luck, because you know what? I don't blame her. That was wrong what they did to her. I'm done.
You're done? I wish you quit saying that. You know how to use your words better.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that's correct. You are goodness. Remember that. Repeat that in your sleep.
No, you remember that.
I am goodness.
Keep telling me how bad I am all the time.
You're the one that always says you're dumb.
Remember that.
You said you're dumb.
Okay, back to your story.
Back
we have no time. Let's go. Move it.
We
Turn
have
over.
all the time in the world.
Come on, this is no day spa. Let's go.
See, this is why I'm known as the happy one.
People, this is why I drink.
Oh.
Go on.
You're going to get retribution on that?
I'll get vodka-bution. I don't care. Go ahead.
U.S. is claiming that Russia has violated its 1987 nuclear missile treaty.
Oh, that's a surprise.
That's a surprise. Now, this is interesting because the Obama administration has talked about it before. However, now they're calling the breach a very serious matter.
Yeah.
They're going public with allegations that have been simmering for quite some time.
Uh-huh.
So now...
From a treaty that's 30 years old.
Yes. 2 officials said the U.S. is prepared to hold high-level discussions on the issue immediately and want assurances that Russia will comply with the treaty requirements going forward. And of course, the officials spoke on condition of anonymity.
Right. Which means that they purposely leaked the story to the news.
Yeah. So anyway, I just think that's interesting. You know, we're just stirring up the pot over there
So
between
if nothing
U.S.
had
and
happened,
Russia.
if nothing had happened in Ukraine, this would not even be a thing.
Oh, no, but everything is always planned. Okay, now because things are planned, I found an interesting story. It says there's a shocking letter that documents how King George V urged his foreign secretary to justify conflict 2 days before the outbreak of the First World War. Now when I went back, when I found this link, went back to research the story, the link would not pull up. So I put in some other search words and I found other links and I eventually found it, but not much was said. But it's all over the internet like this is big news. Now, you and I both know that war is planned years in advance, not 2 days before.
No.
So why did they make a big deal? Then why did they pull the story like it is a big deal? You know, I don't know. It must be part of the staging of things for people.
I think so.
They're calling it an incredible note, you know, like it's some big secret.
Please. People, every war is staged and planned a long time in advance.
So I just wanted to make you aware, even though you're going to be seeing this, you know, remember, it's not what you think it is. Now back to Siberia, because two more holes have opened up.
You know, I had 2 holes open up in me just the other day.
Where?
I'll show you later.
So the second hole, it said, had piles of dirt surrounding the perimeter like the other ones. Some people believe they're a result of meteorite impacts. Others say it's natural gas explosions. Did you have any natural gas explosions? Maybe that's where your holes opened up.
It's very possible.
Anyway, according to the local residents, this specific hole formed back on September 27th of 2013.
How do they know exactly?
They say that initially the place was smoking.
Ooh.
And there was a bright flash, and then there's another version that says a celestial body fell there.
See, but it looks like something came out of it.
Yes, I agree with you. This is the local version. Then the third crater apparently was found by reindeer herders, and the third one is estimated to be between 60 to 100 meters deep.
Reindeer, maybe it was Santa's hole. Maybe Santa came out of the...
That's possible. Or maybe Santa had a natural gas explosion.
Well, he would too. He eats a lot of bad food.
Okay, but listen to this. The first hole, which was 70 meters deep, says that there's an ice-covered lake at the bottom. And we're finding a lot of bodies of underground water, which I think is significant for everything that's happening. Okay? Then, now, again, this isn't exactly a news to our listeners, but is news the fact that they're telling us. This is called making it rain with lasers.
Oh, how do you do that?
Okay, just another stormy, wet afternoon in central Florida. But what if you could pick up all this rain and move it where it is needed, like Texas or California? This is how the article starts. What if a laser could start the rain? So now there's a young man named Matt Mills who got into lasers as a child. Now listen to this, he's part of a team of military-backed scientists.
That's unusual.
That are on the cutting edge of new technology, making lasers powerful enough to reach up into the sky when a thunderstorm is just about to start. And in the near future, push a button and the storm starter could be a real thing. So, like we're talking about...
Maybe that's what they did over our house last month.
It's very possible. So they're telling people now about weather technology. So, and they've not exactly done that before. Now they're telling you.
What's called HARP project.
Yeah, amongst other things. So anyway, I thought that was interesting they're telling us. Now here is something that I found on the internet, but I thought worthy enough to put forward. So this is called spice. Now, I hadn't heard of this one before, but apparently this is a synthetic pot. And there's a family of a teen who died smoking at 19 years old, healthy the day before, and then smoked this stuff, and of course wound up in a coma. It's also called K2, and apparently they can't really detect it in the body, but he had a packet on him, and so therefore they knew that's what he had done. And he had been in drug rehabilitation 8 months earlier for heroin use, but he was thinking because it's synthetic, it's not harmful. So again, you want to be careful about what you do.
Anything synthetic is worse than anything natural.
All of it is bad news, and they said it's really bad. It makes your brain swell. You can't tell, you know, what is the right amount if there is such a thing. So anyway, I'm warning people: be careful of this spice synthetic pot.
Don't do it, people.
Yeah, don't do it. Okay. Now this was interesting to me. There is a man who can hold his breath underwater for 22 minutes.
Well, I do that when you hold me under the bathtub sometimes.
Yeah, you're pretty good at it. I don't know if you've gone 22 minutes before.
Yeah, it feels like sometimes it's more than that.
This man, Severnson, I didn't get his first name apparently, but I'll post the link. Apparently he has written a book called Breathology. And I would like to read that book because I think it's very interesting. He's been documented.
It's not like a breatharian, is it?
No, he uses meditation techniques and focuses on his happy place, I guess.
I don't have a happy place.
I know that, you need one.
I want to get a happy
place.
And
anyway, now this is also interesting. He's teaching his techniques now to everyone from kids swimming clubs, again, to the military.
They just keep popping up.
They do. So I thought, oh, this is interesting. Now, talk about programming and triggering. Have you seen the articles on the internet about the woman in black?
Yes, I have.
I thought that was pretty
At first I thought it was you out for a walk. But apparently she's from Georgia or Alabama or something like that.
Anyway, she's been wandering across the U.S. Now this is interesting. She's wearing flowing robes and has been spotted for the past 2 months along the highways in the U.S. Southeast and the Midwest. Now listen to this. Here we go, military again. She's an Army veteran.
Really?
They don't know her name for sure, but she's thought to be Elizabeth Poles. So I want to think North Pole, South Pole. 56, double new beginnings. She used to live in Georgia. And she just wants to be left alone because she's getting over the death of her husband and her father, but yet she's walking across all dressed in black, pulling
and
black.
She wants to be alone.
Right. So this is a trigger for something. She has a social media page that somebody, who knows, has started for her.
I should do that on the road.
Well, somebody supposedly started for her because she wants to be left alone.
I want to be alone.
And people who are trying to help her keep saying she wants to be left alone. So I thought that was interesting as a trigger. Now listen to this one. There's also a guy called World Guy.
World? That's me.
And I actually saw the World Guy for about 3 or 4 days straight in a row.
Where?
Walking between Berrien Springs and St. Joseph.
When was that? You never told me.
A lot of things I don't tell you.
Apparently.
I save it for the news so I can tell
people
first.
Save this in case I need it in
He's
court.
walking around with a huge rubber globe.
Oh, thank God you said that. What the heck's she going to say next?
And he rolls it. I don't know how tall it is. It's like 10, 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
And he has a dog.
And you saw this?
Yeah.
When?
I told you.
When?
It's in the last week, because I didn't report it last week, so you know it has to be in this last week. He walks along rolling the globe, and he says it's for diabetes awareness, because he knew somebody that died of type 2 diabetes, and because this person never walked, now he's walking. Again, in my mind, it has some kind of trigger going on out there. He has a Facebook page, and also it'll be posted. He also has a regular website where you can donate, which he claims the money's going to diabetes, type 2 cures or whatever.
Well, where's he from?
He's walked through 39 states and Washington, D.C. I didn't put that in here, but over 6,000 miles. You can go look that up.
Boy, his feet must hurt.
But isn't that interesting? We have a woman in black. Now we have a man rolling a globe.
Maybe they should put them together.
Well,
She's a widow now.
I'm thinking there should be a third. Something or another that's going to
happen.
happen.
Maybe I could do something.
Well, maybe, but I doubt it'd be as interesting.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to start walking somewhere.
Okay, well, now this is something
There
else.
has to be a shot. I don't like to walk somewhere.
You have to do something unique, though, so people recognize you and you stand out. You know, this is something that's, again, going on around the internet, which to me, again, when we talk about what's happening to people being numb and dumb, this is called the fire challenge. Have you seen that?
Maybe, I don't know.
The kids stand in a bathtub, and they pour on, usually in a bathing suit, and they pour on themselves, especially it seems to be young men, but some young girls have done it as well. They pour on themselves either perfume, a lighter fluid, rubbing alcohol, and then somebody lights them on fire.
Because?
I don't know.
Because they're morons.
And that's as far as they get. They do this, I don't know what, they can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not.
You know what? If they're that stupid, they should just be burned away.
But I mean, isn't that just the silliest thing?
For them to grow up and take over things, that's scary.
It's very scary. So anyway, it's called the fire challenge. So,
no, it's called stupidity.
Well, I agree with you.
It's called a moron, and where are their parents?
Well, obviously, they would be thinking these things if they had parents to guide them to start with. But anyway, I just thought this was the craziest thing. It's all over the internet now.
Good, because that will encourage more people to do it.
And now they have somebody standing in the bathtub doing this and then saying, "Now don't do this. The real challenge is to get good grades in school."
So, do they realize they will catch fire and die?
I don't know. That's what I said. I can't believe that they are doing this.
Maybe they're smoking that synthetic
whatever it was, spice. I don't know. It's absolutely beyond me. Don't do it. Anyway, then I'm bringing this story up because it's back in the news again. I actually reported on this about a year ago. There's a young man named Neil Harbison who's the first person on the planet to have a passport photo that shows his cyborg nature.
I thought I was.
He's actually a government-recognized cyborg.
Wow.
You don't have anything implanted in you that we can physically see anyway.
Well.
So this comes as that's a rod that's implanted in his head. Now he was born with a condition where he sees everything in shades of gray.
Oh yeah.
So when he wears this device, it actually allows him to hear the frequencies, which I think that's interesting because that's what we talk about, color, tone, and archetype.
Is this like connected to that movie 50 Shades of Grey?
I don't have a clue because I don't know anything about that either.
Okay.
But what's interesting is he's now going to integrate it into even more part of himself by using it, charging it with his body emotions. So you have to read about that.
Boy, mine would explode if I did that.
And then he says the next thing for cyborgs, listen to this, is to have people use a small infrared sensor that vibrates so that you know when someone else is behind you. So you have like a 360-degree perception. And then you can also have a small compass implanted in you that vibrates whenever you face north. So that could also help a lot, he says.
It would help you because you have no sense of direction.
But even if I know if I'm going north, I mean, it's like, where am I going to go, the North Pole or something?
Remember that time you were going to drive across to New Hampshire and you're like, welcome to Canada?
No,
hello.
That's when you told me to go the wrong
I told you the right way.
No, you
I
did
even
not.
told you the exit.
No, you
and next
did
thing
not.
you're in Canada.
No, you did not. You told me the incorrect way. So.
That's why you were never a pilot. You could have worked for Malaysian Airlines, though.
Well, we know you're not going to be the goodwill ambassador, don't we?
I'm not here for being politically correct, okay?
Or spreading goodwill and happiness.
No, I spread other things.
Yes, we know. Germany and Australia. I told you about this last week and I'm updating you. Both countries now allow genderless birth certificates. Germany now allows for a blanket option for birth certificates, such as Australia, because an estimated 1% of babies are born with ambiguous genitalia. All right, and so then this article is letting you know the difference, because later on, whenever the child decides what he or she is, then it can be filled in. And I don't know at what point and how long they have before that has to be filled in. But anyway, just in case you're wondering, they've defined these terms for us. Hermaphroditism,
yes,
which is possessing both male and female reproductive organs. Then we have ambiguous indeterminate genitalia, which means having genitalia that is non-standard enough that doctors cannot identify the predominant sex.
But how about taking a genetic test and then
this can be due to hermaphroditism or to the absence of some or theoretically all reproductive organs. Now, and if you remember, because it's been a while, we actually wrote about what you just said in our True Reality of Sexuality book. This is intersex. And intersex says that they can't tell even by doing chromosomal.
Really?
Yes, you wrote about that in your book, so
I
I'm
did?
surprised. You did.
Oh. Yeah, I did write about that.
You did write about
I remember that.
Any mismatch or ambiguity in chromosomes, gonads, or genitalia. So that's intersex. So at some point, so there are people who are born that actually they cannot be determined.
So maybe it's a result of hybridization from the aliens.
Or technically androgyny at some point. And we wrote about that in True Reality of Sexuality, that these people may actually be the next evolvement of humanity, natural evolvement.
So they're going to be like Teletubbies.
But what happened
what is that?
But instead of allowing them to be who they are and evolve, they tried to fit them into male or female. So read True Reality of Sexuality, because there's lots of good stuff in there. And of course I would have different things in there now that I know what I know since we wrote that book. Okay, now let me ask you a question. This is a quiz for you. Do you know what an earworm is?
Yes.
What?
A worm that lives in your ear.
No. It is actually a song that gets in your head and you can't turn it off. And this article is about how do you get it to go away. Well, first of all,
I have that a lot.
It's a programming as a general rule. Second thing that I want to let you know is that these are the things that we're going to be talking about in our communication seminar next weekend. Because what really happens, the tune doesn't get stuck in your head, it actually vibrates through your entire system, because your body is 70% water. So if you hit it with a tuning fork, and even into your bones, it's going to vibrate. So it's not in your ear, but things vibrate up into your brain through your jawbone and through your cochlea bones. You watch your language.
That's what happens when you hit me and I start vibrating all that fluid. Now I know it's the fluids in my body vibrating when you hit me with the whatever it is.
But anyway,
all different things you use.
I never heard of an earworm before, so I'm bringing that up because it's programming based. And then now this also got me. It says a fancier name is called stuck song syndrome.
That sounds like a Chinese meal. You want some stuck song?
A new hot hair trend. How to have rock candy colored hair.
That's what I want.
Now I'm bringing this up again because I'm telling you that people aren't going to know what they are. Now pink hair, green hair, blue hair.
I just want any hair. I don't care.
And the thing is it doesn't really matter what color your hair is. It's turning people into things they're not. So sometimes it's fun to do things like that, but again, people don't know who and what they are. So that's why I bring that particular one out. And then we have Theresa May, who is a leading legal academic who says sex offenders, including pedophiles, should be allowed to adopt. And rules which bar sex offenders from working with children are unfair, and even convicted pedophiles should have the right to adopt.
Maybe they should adopt her.
And again, I'm telling you, they're going to make it legal to have sex with children. They used to do this, you know, in Middle Ages, and a lot of the
and they still in
houses
some
across.
countries.
Yes,
Still
Thailand is known for it. So, and anyway, lots of things going on with child sex. So keep your eyes open for that and watch your children. Okay, now this one.
I can just imagine.
Okay, tell me what you think it is.
It's something that the Midwestern people are going to be very upset about.
Okay, I think it has something to do with robots. This is called a guybраtor.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I've been telling you that the
I'm
new
sorry,
thing...
Midwestern people, I'm sorry.
The new thing is that females, everywhere I look, and this is conventional news, they're talking about women and vibrators. And like, it's like if you don't have it, they even have one now you can wear around your neck as jewelry. And they're in cartoons, they're all over the place. And I keep thinking to myself, why, okay?
Cartoons?
Yeah. I told you about that. The little kid has one strapped to his forehead, comes out running, and the woman's having their card party or tea party, whatever, and he say, "Look, Mommy, I'm a dinosaur." He comes out wearing her vibrator. And then they're talking about it, and the anal vibrators and the vaginal vibrators.
Just stop.
Everybody has one, apparently, according to all the magazines these days. Now they have a guybраtor. And of course, this is obviously for men. And so I keep thinking to myself, why in the world I keep bringing this stuff up? Because it's always been out there.
Why in the world you keep finding it? That's what I want.
You know what? I wish I could turn it off.
Where do you look for these things? I don't see these things. I don't go looking for that stuff.
Anywhere. Well, where are you?
I'm
because
looking
these are everywhere.
At Gaza and Ebola and serious things.
I looked at the Russian treaty and the blowing
You're looking at guybrators.
Well, the issue is, I thought about this long and hard, because I keep thinking, why is this happening? Long and hard.
Oh, people, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. But then again, she does this all the time, right?
Listen to me. I think it's because they're testing out what they're going to do to robots.
They don't need vibrators, robots.
No, they're going to put this stuff on robots. Like the male robots will have the
so it's going to be like the Woody Allen movie Sleeper, where they have the orgasmatron.
Woody Allen, see, you've got that too going on. Okay, then we have, and then the men, they're going to see what the men will buy, and then they're going to put that in the female robots. You won't know if you're sitting next to a robot or not. You won't know who and what you're with.
Unless it shows you its vibrator.
No, it's built in. You won't know.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I finally figured it out. I told you, I watch these trends, I know there's a reason, and I know this is what's happening. Mark my words, there will be robots you will not be able to tell the difference with.
I already know that.
Yeah, well, this is going to advance it. Because not only are you going to be sleeping with one,
well,
and you won't know it.
it's going to be putting prostitutes out of business.
No,
I think they should.
It will be everything.
Go to their union, their prostitute union, and complain about it.
Okay, then the next story, you're going to love this one. You know, we have a dog bakery in town called Fuzzy Butts.
You know, you have to stop this.
Okay, now in China, there's a thing with peaches. Now, when I saw this, I didn't look at this story because I thought, okay, peaches, it must be, you know, somebody's name. But it's not. It really means the fruit, a peach. The peaches apparently are wearing panties in China.
Huh?
Fuzzy butts. It says, we all know that peaches look like fuzzy pink butts. But have you ever thought to put the peach butt in a pair of peach-sized panties? Apparently, vendors in China have started selling panties wearing peaches as novelty gifts. I can't make this up. Okay, they're dubbed, quote, when the honey peach ripens, unquote, because this is an erotic connotation in Mandarin. And then the peaches are sold as gifts in anticipation of the, what festival?
Chi-Chi.
You sure?
Yeah.
Chi-Chi Festival, which is known as the Chinese Valentine's Day. And we've missed it, unfortunately. It falls on August 2nd, it says this year, so we've missed it.
I could have had a fuzzy peach.
You could have a fuzzy peach, but anyway, I just thought, who makes it?
That's why there's 1.3 billion Chinese.
I guess, and there are pictures.
They got to stop that. Chinese people stop that.
Well, remember the penis festival in Japan, which you
just
missed.
Say that word.
But you can go look it up. Well, speaking of penises, we have a veterinarian who loses his license after sex with a dog and a horse. Who was trained in Hungary from the UK.
He needs to go on eharmony.com.
Now this is what, I don't understand this. He was filmed in 2008 having sex with a dog in a house setting, and in 2009 having sex with a horse in a stable setting.
Maybe it's just very ugly girlfriends.
But apparently, he never worked as a veterinarian in the UK, but he's losing his license. So it's like, why are they bringing that up now? But I told you
Talk
again.
about pedophilia. This is, dogophilia.
And horsophilia. But again, these are things that they're trying to open up
Or
the frequencies.
maybe could have been Prince Charles he was with.
And make it seem more normal. That's what all this is going to.
And it was the UK.
Yeah, and everything is. I wonder what UK really stands for.
Well, usually if you spell it with a Y, it's yuck.
Ah,
Y-U-K. Yuck.
Yuck. Okay, that makes sense to me. All right. So anyway, that's my stories.
Thank goodness, and I knew you couldn't get through the podcast without mentioning genitalia.
But I found some very interesting conclusions this time. Now that
the
I know
Midwestern audience is fainted. They're
now
passed out.
that I know about robots and their plans and how they're doing their research. So actually, if they said to people, "We're going to make you have sex with plastic stuff," they'd say, "No way." But make it seem, like a sexy and attractive. People are running out and buying it.
You need to
and
calm
their
down.
dollars are voting for what's going to go into the robots of the future. These could be your mates. Your child could be married to a robot, and you wouldn't even know it.
You know what? Some might be better than some of the other people that
That's
might get
possible too. At least maybe they wouldn't be numb and dumb. Maybe they would be. I don't know. Okay.
I forgot. Maybe I should have married a robot.
So we want to remember our communications seminar.
Yeah, you'll learn how to say words like genitalia and fuzzy butt and what else?
Color, tone, and
something.
archetype.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about.
And you're going to actually be wearing a fuzzy butt, Peach, aren't you?
And we're going to implant a cyborg device on the top of your
you'll
head.
get your own personal vibrator.
And dye your hair pink.
Yes, with candy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to do that in August of the seminar that's upcoming.
I can't wait.
And then you're going to be in Iceland and Poland in September.
Where they don't do such things.
Aha, you don't know what happens. Then we're going to do our October Everything Oversoul and the Alien Agenda.
Which really, it's going to be super fantastic.
Yeah. Stuart's been doing research on that for probably, all your
a
life.
long time, but recently
Things
a
that
lot
are coming
of...
together in weird and wild ways, we'll say for now.
Yeah,
So you want to be sure and be here for that one. And get your seat reserved. Contact Patricia, or you can also register over the website. I think there's still some early bird specials if you're intending to come. You want to be sure and get in on those.
Yeah.
We have a few Day with Stewarts left before the end of the year, but not a lot with our busy schedules.
Bring your own vibrator.
So if you want a Day with Stewart, you're going to have to get on that list.
Yeah.
Anything else going on? There's always stuff going on.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on. I haven't even discussed this with you.
Uh-oh.
But I was
So
thinking
that's
of
scary.
maybe thinking of asking you, the audience, if you have particular questions that you want to send in that I can answer on the podcast. Not a lot, just one or two that I would answer.
No, we have to have that go through the member side, because otherwise it gets too out of control.
The member side is out of control.
No, well, so
The
you want to be a
questions
member.
they're asking me.
So if you're a member and you want to, that's what you can do. If you're a member, then you can make a request for specific topics to be discussed, and we will. Not discuss dead.
Since you are a robot Janet,
Yeah.
I'll wait till the real Janet comes and I will ask her.
All right, that sounds good. Okay.
All right. Well.
So anyway, join our site, join our community. We have lots of excellent discussions. In fact, we are talking about calmness, peace, and harmony, and what's going on in the outer world on the current blog, and what you can do to not participate in it and move through it and surpass. So this month's blog is really great. I don't have to, and we have great people participating and adding to excellent people on the membership side. So
really good.
Appreciate all of you. Anything else? Oh, like our Facebook page. Share, invite your friends to like our Facebook page.
Especially like me.
Yeah, Stuart wants his Facebook fan page liked. We have a liking of the Facebook fan pages going on between Stuart and I, or maybe they call it a battle of whatever. Oh, speaking of battle of whatever and weird things.
Did you hit me?
Yes, I did. I want to tell you what I saw.
What?
I watched a video of Brazilian ladies wearing basically brassieres and not much else on a stage wearing heels about this high. You know what they did? They put them in little rooms with holes in the rooms, and they passed from their mouth from one to the other. They started with a live crab about this big.
A crab?
Crab. One lady gave it to one lady to another lady who dumped it through the last window.
Wouldn't the crab bite their lips or something?
That's the scary part, I guess. And then a live fish. They passed that.
Okay.
And then listen to me. Then they passed a live frog. That was about this big.
In their mouth?
Yes. Now, isn't that weird?
Well, that's why...
Numb and dumb.
Yeah, that's why Brazil is not a world power.
Anyway, I didn't want to forget to tell you that.
Okay, I know I know I have listeners in Brazil, but
Oh,
you know,
I'm
seriously.
sorry. We're sorry for that. That's a representative of your country. I'm very
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know what the game is, but it was a
Yeah.
very popular television.
You need to go back to
show.
Ipanema.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so please, if you're in Brazil and you can do anything about that show, don't watch it.
Yeah, really.
And don't do it. Don't try that at home.
Yeah, please do not put frogs in your mouth.
Don't. I'm not going
Or
to go out to
crabs.
the pond and find out you're putting frogs in your
That's
mouth.
probably
or-
something, you probably find some kind of sexual story about that and
That's
report
really-
on it.
But the
next
women
time.
were dressing like nothing. And this is what they're doing. And people are watching.
They don't want to get their clothes dirty. We don't know if the frog
Maybe-
poops on it or something.
Maybe that's it. I don't know about how. Like I said,
Yeah.
numb and dumb. What is going on with people to do these
Well,
things?
it's Brazil. It's hot. A lot of sun on their heads. You know, it's not fun. No. Anyway, as you know, we criticize everybody equally.
You do?
Yeah.
Speak for yourself.
So,
I only observe. I don't criticize.
so until next time, people, assuming that Janet does not batter me and put other things, you know, in my person, I will see you next time.
And I am hoping that we can train him eventually to tell happy stories like me.
Well, let's get the world happy.
You have to get your inner self happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're coming to the communication seminar.
Really?
Yeah, you're going to learn to communicate happiness.
So then I'll be Mr.
And,
Happy?
and read the blog.
Will I be
Peace,
Mr. Happy after that?
Harmony, calm.
This is Mr. Happy saying bye for now.